Hey, yo, let's get it poppin'. What up, everybody? This is Jeff Fox from The Jeff Fox Show. I want to invite you to a real Bahamian party, a great place that you can get the island food that I'm talking about as fish fry right here in beautiful Miami. Come to the backyard. Yeah, that's right. It's east of Miami, the backyard, where you can get that real fried fish, fried conch, grilled conch, any kind of way you want it, they will do it for you. Lobster, fish, chicken in the bag, shrimp, all kinds of great island eats right here in Miami Gardens and east of Miami. It's the Bahamian thing. Niceness. Pull up on east of Miami. Check out TJ and Cindy at east of Miami for the best Bahamian food. Best fish, the best chicken, the best conch, the best stewed fish. All right, they've got it all. Island food, 18014 Northwest 6th Place in Miami Gardens. I'm talking about the real deal, not the fake stuff. This is real Bahamians making real Bahamian food. In the backyard, come on and check out the vibes. East of Miami, 18014 Northwest 6th Place in Miami Gardens. Tell my man TJ Jeff Fox sent you. You heard it first right here on the Jeff Fox Show. It's the backyard, east of Miami. For the best in your auto transport needs, check out Express Auto Recovery in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Why choose us? We provide nationwide coverage, fast and reliable service, competitive pricing, transport to any freight forwarder or dock of your choice, auction house experience, and we provide excellent customer service. Express Auto Recovery. Call them today. 786-858-0369. That's 786-858-0369. They provide towing services, accident towing, roadside services, tire change, transporting, towing, and they buy junk cars. Cheap prices, licensed and insured, fast and reliable services. Express Auto Recovery. Call them today, 786-858-0369. That's EAR, Express Auto Recovery. Tell them you heard it first on the Jeff Fox Show.
The Jeff Fox Show, brought to you by Remix Sports Media.
We started off like most companies at that time. If you're black and you're going to get involved, they're going to put you in the black area town. And so it was no different. We started in Milwaukee because I spent all those years there with 5 stores in the inner city of Milwaukee. And they were not very good restaurants, but I figured if we worked at it, you could turn things around. And I'll tell you, the average volume of those 5 restaurants was only $600,000 a year. And you're not making any money at that volume. Today, those restaurants, and my son runs them, so we still have a lot of them, but they do over $2 million in sales. And how do you do that? By getting involved with the people and letting the people know that you care about them. Now, how do you do that? Back at that time in Milwaukee, if you got stopped for any traffic violation, they took you to jail. It was a crazy law that I'm glad they've changed, but where was all of our people at? They were in jail. So we were bailing people out every day, and I could take you through other things that we did to help show people that we cared about them. And once they realized that we cared about them, then they cared about the business and they cared about us, and we grew. And as we grew and added more stores, we were able to promote people from a general manager to a district manager to an area operations person. And after a while, we had a whole lot of people making over $100,000 a year. And you would say, you know, how did that happen? And it was in what I would call a real American dream. You could come go to work if you had just natural common sense and you were willing to work hard, you could make a good living for yourself. And we had people that went on from there and became franchisees on their own. So turn around, and it was a matter of helping people. And then one day I looked up and we had 275 Wendy's restaurants.
Wow. 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 Good morning.
Good morning, Shouty.
What up, Shouty?
Ooh, it's rough today. It's whatever Wednesday, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, whatever Wednesday, man, and very, very sad. Whatever Wednesday, as we heard the words of the great Junior Bridgman, who passed away yesterday, minority owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. But much more than that, what a great American! What a great, you talk about black excellence. Junior Bridgman was an average, pretty average NBA player, but what a giant he became, and what an all-star he became off the court.
Okay.
You know?
Didn't
Yeah,
I read somewhere he was a billionaire?
yeah, just became a billionaire not that long ago. And I mean, you talk. I've seen some success stories in sports, former athletes, guys like, I don't know if you know Dave Bing. He's out of Detroit. He used to play for the Pistons. Dave Bing. He's a former basketball player who became a hugely successful businessman. And Junior Bridgman was in that same mold. Became hugely successful in business. He owned a lot of restaurants. He got into Wendy's restaurants, owned over 450 of them nationwide. And I remember reading about him in that magazine called Black Enterprise. Remember that magazine?
I do.
Right, successful black folks, whether you were an attorney or any kind of businessman, Black Enterprise magazine. I read about Junior Bridgman in that magazine. And I remember also that I never saw him play, but I know my dad told me he played for the Milwaukee Bucks and was a pretty good, I think, wingman, power forward, or big guard or forward, Junior Bridgman. And again, seeing him all over the place. If you follow entrepreneurs and successful black businessmen, you know about Junior Bridgman. So what an iconic figure. And he passed away, had a heart attack. Big businessman in the city of Louisville. Of course, you heard him say he played for the Bucks. The Bucks issued a statement yesterday. The Milwaukee Bucks are shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Bucks legend and owner Junior Bridgman. Junior's number 2 jersey hangs in our rafters, serving as a constant remembrance of his outstanding play on the court and his impact on the Bucks' success. His hard work and perseverance led him to become one of the nation's top business leaders. And last September, Junior's professional life came full circle when he returned to the Bucks. Wow, now this is great. When he returned to the Bucks family as an owner, his memory will always be an inspiration to the Bucks organization. And we are heartbroken by Junior's passing. And we send our deepest condolences to his wife, Doris, his children, Eden, Justin, and Ryan, his entire family, and all those close to him. So rest in peace, Junior Bridgman, man. I reached out to our good friend Mark Gray from the DMV. We'll see if Mark can stop by and give us some words on Junior Bridgman. Fitz Davis is out today. He's on a mission called wifey duty. So he got to take care of some business. So it's just myself and of course the great Jenny Jones. Mark Ray will be joining us shortly as well. So yeah, man, your thoughts, Jenny, on I don't know, were you familiar with Junior Bridgman?
I'm not familiar with him, but classic example on how to take that success and parlay it into something bigger, parlay it into something bigger than yourself. I mean, there should be a book,
Yes.
on athletes and after the game, what to do, and how to keep the money going, because a lot of the athletes go broke.
Yep. Remember the broke documentary? Too many athletes come into money and they just blow it.
Yeah. Cars, jewelry,
women.
Yeah.
They blow it all. And I love stories like Junior Bridgman. And I mentioned Dave Bing. He's a old school basketball player as well, who became hugely successful in business. And more recently, you think of Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal. Who else? There was one, Jamal Mashburn. Great businessman. And our good friend Mark Ray is here. Good morning, Mark. What up, man?
What's up? How y'all doing?
Good morning, Mark.
The Sports Groove.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Congratulations.
Please send donations.
Yeah. We're talking about, the untimely passing of Junior Bridgman, and and what a great Black American he was. He was the epitome of what I would call Black excellence. You think so?
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny when I got the email from you and you starting to talk about, the business side of Junior Bridgman. The only other person I can think in that kind of category would be like Dave Bing, who played, a DC guy who understood that the platform of professional sports and what it gave him at that time, and an opportunity to, set himself up and then do for the community. I venture to say that not too many of the guys that are playing in this era are that deep and would be willing to do the things like Dave and Junior Bridgman did. But just to be smart enough to recognize that there was a market for fast foods, that he could create a business model to help people who were struggling to get stuff to eat, make it available in their communities. I mean, the guys from, the boomer eras, and I know a lot of young people like to hate on the boomers because they're old, but the boomers had a resilience about them that I don't think they really get the respect for. And I will put Junior Bridgman into that category. And I think everything these days is really superficial, where guys like he and Dave Bing had depth, kind of like Muhammad Ali, guys that would stand for a cause and understood that the steps that they made today were going to be leaps for their communities in the future. And they live for that. And it's really a sad day to see him go. But, he did the Lord's work while he was here, and we all can hope that he rests in peace.
Absolutely. He definitely set something that you want today's athlete. And Shaquille O'Neal last night mentioned it that, look, this is the guy I wanted to model myself after. Like, I wanted to be like, Junior Bridgman. I wanted to own a lot of restaurants and this is stuff you want these guys to aspire to be great businessmen after sports, because we're a lot more than just athletes. This guy was brilliant. He set himself up for life. I just mentioned Jamal Mashburn, who played here in Miami with the Heat. This guy is doing the same thing. Jamal Mashburn. And then you got people like Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, who really got a boost during their playing days. What's remarkable about Junior Bridgman is he didn't get all those accolades when he played in the league.
True.
He played in the 70s when the money wasn't all that,
But he can still play today, though. I really believe. I mean, because and just for context here, that 6-man explosive score coming off the bench that could change the momentum of a game in 3 possessions, Junior Bridgman was that guy. I mean, let's be clear for a second. He might as well have been a 6th starter. He didn't get his name announced at the start of the game, but you knew that if you were a fan of somebody that the Bucks were playing, okay, my question is, this dude was instant offense. I mean, what we're seeing now with guys that come off the bench was being done 40 years ago by Junior Bridgman, and he was a factor, and he helped make Don Nelson a really great coach.
Wow. And you got to see that move. I mean, that role continue and expand with guys like Vinny the Microwave Johnson, who ironically played for the Pistons, along with
Vinny Johnson,
Jenny?
Mark, what I'm kind of seeing is the generation these days are kind of depending on, maybe relying on that. I hate to say NIL money, but you know what I'm saying? It's like they're kind of relying on that, to where you see some of the older players are going out and creating that generational wealth, because the name, image, and likeness, it's all fine until they're not thinking about you. And what are you going to do next? That's what I
think, to your point, NIL is a blessing and a curse. It gives the kids an opportunity to set themselves up for life if they're responsible financially. And most major institutions do have, like, the quote general manager who helps them set up the bank accounts, the financial investments and stuff like that. So by the time you get to the NBA, you can be selfish, like, say, I don't know, Jimmy Butler. Okay.
Oh my.
With all due respect, I mean, there's ways that you handle your business. And I go back to Kevin Garnett when he was talking about how during his career, there were like 5 or 6 work stoppages to guarantee players that they're going to get guaranteed money. You sign your contract. Yeah. Now you're looking at a situation where if I'm an NBA owner, I'm going to look to start taking back. Hey, look, if we got to load manage you, we're going to dock you for that. If you don't play back-to-back, we'll dock you for that. If you blatantly miss a flight, you'll get docked for that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. This generation now gets paid for whatever. And you go back farther. Heck, I hope we can say this this is a podcast. Remember the NBA had the problem with cocaine in the 70s?
Yes.
And I even remember disparaging references to the Knicks when they were calling them niggerbockers as opposed to knickerbockers. And that was the era that Junior Bridgman played in. So to keep himself, above the nonsense that was going on and to have a vision for the future, I think that's the legacy that we can take from the boomer generation of professional athletes. And when you compare it to this generation who want to be trending topics and influencers more than they want to be Hall of Famers and give their fans their money's worth, that's the beef that I got. They are brilliant players. They are doing some of the most highlight-oriented athletic stuff that we've ever seen in my 40 years of watching basketball. But the character of the game is flawed because we got too many characters and not people of the ilk like Junior Bridgman.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I know we did a news story, and it was college athletes has all these fancy cars in their yard, the $1 million home, but like I said, not really creating wealth outside of what you can get right now with the name, image, and likeness. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating. The money is good, but like I said, if you're spending it as fast as you're making it, trying to keep being, that kind of influencer, I don't see how they are building the type of generational wealth like Junior did. I mean, and like Magic Johnson did, and and Shaq in there, because they're doing it. I mean, they're doing it,
Well,
making more money now than they did on the court.
And see, that's the interesting point I wanted to bring up, because Junior Bridgman and that generation of players had to find, in this case, like summer jobs. When your season ended, you had another job. That was the whole thing about professional sports, even before we started really watching, was the fact that those guys' pro athlete careers was a side hustle. They had real jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we got guys with generational wealth, and those guys with real jobs would play games, flying commercial, riding in coach, all uncomfortable. And I think that's the problem that I have with this generation. But as everything, I think the market will correct itself, and it just bothers me. But I can see in 5 years, 70% of the league being international, 30% being American, because of behaviors like this. But I don't want to paint the broad brush, because you've got guys from this generation. I admire what LeBron has done in Akron with the schools. Jalen Rose in Detroit with his. I mean, especially now when you start looking at the Department of Education cutting everything, it's going to take brilliant visionary minds with the wherewithal to start these charter type of schools, if you will, to give kids an opportunity. I mean, where Junior Bridgman and Dave Bing understood the value of commerce, being a business person, generational wealth. I think some of the players of this generation are appreciating the fact of the educational walk and what is meant to them. So at some point, I think the bridge with the influence of the athletes, starting schools and stuff like that, I think that's a real interesting note, where Dave Bing and Junior Bridgman were creating generational wealth. I think this generation at some level is creating academic opportunities, which, again, looking at the climate of the country is right now, is something that they can all stand on, knowledge, and reach people at a very influential age, and perhaps make the country, as great as some people think it was, by opening up these doors. And I do admire the tack that a lot of guys and ladies are taking as it relates to getting active in the community, trying to help academic things, academic pursuits, and what have you. And I think that's a vital component to, quite frankly, the safety of our community moving forward. If you want to keep somebody ignorant, you don't educate them. And I think these backdoor approaches to education by people with visibility, like a lot of guys are doing right now, is something that they should be commended upon, as opposed to just making commercials. And then after you finish with the set, you go on about your privileged life.
What do you think it was about Junior Bridgman that he figured out when he was playing that there was a great future for him after basketball? What was it that he figured out that a lot of guys, even today, despite the generational wealth, they still go broke? They still do it.
Right.
They went through $1 gazillion. What did Junior Bridgman figure out?
I think he was a product of his times. He knew that he wasn't going to play basketball forever. He had a game plan. And one thing about being a pro athlete or celebrity, you get exposed to people who want to be around you.
Yeah.
In those moments, if you know how to ask the right questions. And I'm gonna tell you the personification of this is Shaq. Okay, Shaq was kind of a follow-up to a Junior Bridgman type. Shaq wanted to have fun. Shaq wanted to make his money, but he also knew that there were business opportunities that his platform gave him, and he used them the right way. And people look at that gregarious figure, but you look at his portfolio.
Yeah, very impressive.
It's very diverse. It's very diverse.
And I think that to a lesser extent, Junior Bridgman kind of saw the same things that Shaq saw while he was playing. And though he didn't make the money that Shaq had, the principles of business are still the same. You know, learn, invest, expand, and live large. And that's basically what Shaq has done incredibly well. I think as great a player as he was, he's an even better businessman, which is ridiculous. I'm wearing Shaq glasses now. All right. I am.
He name dropping over there.
You know what I'm saying? But I think Junior Bridgman was like that, man. He found his niche. He found a business that he liked. He found something that he could flourish at. And in many respects, and now that I think about it, I had a conversation with the late Dave Parker, played Major League Baseball for the Phillies and was one of the best players in the game. You can make the last half decade of the 70s, he's probably the best player in baseball. He did the same type of thing with Popeye's franchises. And those guys who played in that era knew that there was something after the game they were going to do. And I think really business is a lot of tenets of sports play well in business. If you discipline, work hard enough, and just learn and implement the game plan. And that's the thing that oftentimes we forget about athletes is some of the stuff that they did in the pros to overcome to make them great players gives them resilience, guidance, and confidence that they can succeed. And I think Junior Bridgman, and I go back to Dave Bing, were guys like that. You know, they knew that, and remember, these guys came along at the end of the first civil rights movement. So they had been through a lot of stuff that I know I hadn't been through. I've only read about it in books. And for those guys to take that wherewithal in their platform and understand what they could do in, urban communities, quite frankly, late 60s to mid 70s, urban communities that were primarily home to Black Americans were not safe, friendly, or the most clean neighborhoods in our country. That's where Junior Bridgman and Dave Big did their thing, man. They went into communities that the world had forgot, and they helped give them, even if it was a fast food restaurant, a sense of hope. And, you give people hope, they can do great things. And I think the byproduct of what Junior Bridgman did in those communities was, lead to gentrification, lead to, a greater tax base. I mean, there are so many worldly things that go beyond what this basketball player did while in business that, it's a shame we have to have this conversation after his passing, but the work in the communities that he did, they've impacted generations, man. And I hate to see him gone, but Lord knows he did the work.
Yeah, he did, man.
For a long, long time.
Yeah. He did, because, coming off of Black History Month, I think guys like Junior Bridgman, they should be immortalized. Their names need to ring in our communities forever. So our up and coming athletes can have a blueprint as to what to do when they get on that level, and it's good to see guys like LeBron James, like Magic Johnson, like Shaquille O'Neal, who are doing it the right way, who are going about their business the right way. Jamal Mashburn is another one, again, coming out of Kentucky. And I think of guys like Jalen Hurts, the recent Super Bowl winning quarterback from the Eagles. People make fun of him because he lives in a modest apartment complex. That's smart. You know what I mean? That is smart, because he's thinking about his future. And that's what you want your up and coming athletes to do, to learn about their, what their future plans are going to be. We have great people in our communities like Calvin Hill, the father of Grant
Oh
Hill.
man.
You have great guys like them to teach and educate our younger athletes, and hopefully we need more junior Bridgemans. I know we lost this one, but we definitely need more folks like him.
I'm glad you brought up Calvin Hill, because one of the game-changing moments in my college experience was when he was one of the vice presidents of the Baltimore Orioles. And if you know anything about Baltimore at that time, Northeast Baltimore was where the Orioles played at Memorial Stadium. Morgan State is walking distance from the old Memorial Stadium. So he comes over and starts talking about the business of sports. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at this black man sit in my HBCU classroom and tell me, if you want to get into sports, you may not play, but there's a whole career path for you. And it was life changing. And Junior Bridgeman, LeBron, Shaq, Jalen Rose, they are impacting people like that. And to your point about Jalen Hurts, he's smart enough to surround him with good black women. He got about 9 of them on his team.
Sure.
Ain't nobody. Hey, no. The only person I think is better off than that is probably Jaden Daniels, whose mom is with, and she done already laid out. Y'all ain't getting next to my baby, so I love that in them. That's a real blessing when you got guidance like that at this stage in your life, and I think that's what makes both those two guys really successful. And I could see in a Jalen Hurts type something bigger. There's a greater calling after football. I don't know what it is.
Right.
And
he may not know what it is yet.
but he's got his ring. He's independently wealthy. His money's working for him. I'm anxious to see what he has left in him, because he may not be a pro sports coach, but I think he's that dude that can coach a lot of people in the game of life.
Yeah.
And when you look at his understated way of doing things and professionalism and ability to come back, lose the Super Bowl to Mahomes, come back and get him. There were doubts about his ability to win in Philadelphia. I mean, he got a great narrative, and you can't take that away from him. And the fact that he's that dude that you can look up to if you're in the hood or the burbs. I mean, that's it's just wonderful to watch those guys. I don't want to put no pressure on them. I'm not saying that those guys are going to become Junior Bridgemans or Dave Bings, but those are the kind of role models. And if you're a fella, you wouldn't have a problem with him coming home with your daughter. For things other than just the checkbook. You know what I'm saying?
I like that they are, I hate to say selling hope, but they're giving you hope to that you can rise from little to nothing and you can be a billionaire. You can take your seat at the table, because I don't understand, sometimes people say, I don't believe, or, different things like that. But how do you live? I don't know how you live without hope. So you got to believe in something, because if there's nothing that you have to look forward to that's greater than where you are right now, if you have nothing, what is your life? Right.
Exactly. I don't think I could have said it better. Giving, especially now for young African-American men. Okay. There's an assault on DEI. So everything that you do won't get the full appreciation because it's supposedly be giving you an F. Jalen Hurts throws that out the window. I mean, just, guy was, because the narrative of him is crazy. I mean, you took him out of the national championship game. Tua comes in, throws a touchdown pass. He's a star. Go to the Super Bowl, had a big lead in the fourth quarter, lose to Patrick Mahomes. Come back 2 years later and beat him. All right. Then you surround yourself with a bunch of queens, and you're able to be a success in business off the field as you are on the field. Man, look, he need to write a book. Matter of fact, Jalen, if you're listening, I will ghostwrite the book for you.
Hey.
Very simple. We can do a series of online conversations, transcribe, you edit. Dude, because you that dude.
No
Now,
doubt.
I beat you next year, but you still my dude.
No doubt. The great Professor G, my man Mark Ray from MLB.com. It's about that time of year for you as we are getting into spring training. Opening day is coming up. What are you most looking forward to as you continue your excellent work at MLBBro.com?
Great question. I'm hoping Dave Roberts does it again. I really am. I think that if Dave Roberts wins this, and I'm gonna go out here on a limb 4 weeks before the start of the season, if Dave Roberts uses a 6-man rotation and the Dodgers are able to win the World Series, you will see the 6-man rotation become in vogue next year, which will be a lot easier on the arms for players that are going down. You throw a far fewer innings. And I just think it makes you a better team because you got a fresher pitching staff with fresher arms going into the postseason. Dave showed us that he could do it last year for the last quarter of the season. I hear he's going to try that 6-man rotation all season long. If it works, everybody will do it next year or within the next 2 to 3 years. It'll be a 6-man rotation, fewer middle relievers.
Right.
It'll be frontline starters, closers, and we'll see how that works out because guys aren't staying healthy. And when you see Garrett Cole go out with the Yankees and he's done for the year, needing Tommy John surgery, I think guys are looking to, owners that is, are going to be looking to save their investment and more arms, you know, a whole state in the Dominican Republic to just groom pitchers.
Wow.
But he's extending that model. Seems like it can extend. It has the potential to extend the player's career.
I think so too. So, and again, given that teams who win championships have great pitching staffs, we in Washington right now are dealing with hope that Josiah Gray can come back after nearly 2 years off with a bad elbow. Good news about travel teams is that your young player will get scouted and recruited. The bad news is I think a lot of coaches are forcing pitchers to throw split finger fastballs and put enormous pressure on elbows when arms haven't developed. And what you got to do is you just got to go out there and strengthen those arms and teach a guy to make his fastball move.
No doubt.
Put some cut on it. Don't worry about turning your arm like that or doing things that your elbow isn't ready. And that's why when you start hearing Tommy John surgery, the elbow has given up because orthopedics will tell you overhand motion throwing a ball is not what your arm should have been built for. Guys have been defying science for years. It's catching up with them. And that's why I think the 6-man rotation will be in play. If this is 2025, I'm going to set the over-under by 2028.
No doubt. The great Mark Gray, MLBBro.com, does great work there. Make sure you go there and check him out. Thank you, Professor G, for joining us on such short notice, man.
Hey, man, always a pleasure to be with the fam down there.
Yes, sir. You're always welcome here as well.
When you coming to visit us?
Huh?
When are you coming to visit us?
I have family down there, and I'm making my way hopefully this summer, depending on traffic. Air traffic, that is.
Okay. That is a concern. That is a concern.
Yo.
So put it to you like this. I will show up this summer as long as it's not a government shutdown. How about that?
Okay. I need to up right there. You weren't ready.
Woo.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Anyway.
Keep fighting the good fight, my brother.
Amen. Amandala.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, man. The great Mark Gray joining us from the DMV. You're watching the Jeff Fox Show. We'll be back right after this. For the best in your auto transport needs, check out Express Auto Recovery in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Why choose us? We provide nationwide coverage, fast and reliable service, competitive pricing, transport to any freight forwarder or dock of your choice, auction house experience, and we provide excellent customer service. Express Auto Recovery. Call them today, 786-858-0369. That's 786-858-0369. 858-0369. They provide towing services, accident towing, roadside services, tire change, transporting, towing, and they buy junk cars. Cheap prices, licensed and insured, fast and reliable services. Express Auto Recovery. Call them today, 786-858-0369. That's EAR, Express Auto Recovery. Tell them you.
But having said all of that, that again buffers my point. It was never about Bronny. I wouldn't do that to a kid. It was about his dad. And it wasn't about his dad even wanting him in the NBA. It's the things he said and the things he maneuvered and manipulated in order to get his son to wear the same uniform as him, which brought that attention. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I want to get into a conversation about me because of how some folks have been attacking me. Not over this, but using this as an excuse to accuse me of hating on the brothers. I'm sick of that shit. I'm not backing up from that anymore. I'm not taking it from people anymore. I'm not just a black man. I'm a brother. I'm not going to take this shit from people anymore. I'm going on Gilbert Arenas' podcast tomorrow. Gil's Arena. With Rashad McCants, with Kenyon Martin, Swaggy P, Nick Young and the crew. I can't wait. I can't wait for that conversation. I'm not taking this shit no more from people. I've had it.
Wow, Stephen A. Stephen A. ain't taking this shit no more.
Is he just a little salty?
I gave LeBron the complete jerk award coming after Stephen A. the way he did, but apparently the players were, they were putting the word out that we ain't talking to Stephen A. no more.
Oh,
And yeah,
oh my goodness.
They weren't feeling the stuff that Stephen A. was saying in his approach. But the whole LeBron and Stephen A. situation has been dominating the headlines for the past few days, ever since it happened on Friday. And everybody has something to say about this, but it was good to see Stephen A. come out and defend himself. And I thought basically, Jenny, that he handled it great because this man is twice your size. If you showed any type of aggression, who knows what would have happened? Stephen A. just signed a $100 million contract. He don't need to, and his bosses were right there. He didn't need to act silly at all.
I mean, but what is there to fight over? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Physically fight. You're going to have war of the words when you disagree with something somebody said, or you feel like, you feel some kind of way about something that they said. You're going to have a war of the words. But to come to fisticuffs, I think that was so not necessary. And if that would have been the level that LeBron had decided to take it to, that would have been to me the equivalent of Will Smith.
Yeah.
And,
Great comparison. Comparison.
That would have been that equivalent, that Oscar equivalent.
Great comparison.
Great comparison.
And it would have been embarrassing.
Time and a place for everything.
Yes, it would have been embarrassing for us as
when we're talking about the Lakers, that's about LeBron, not Bronny. Bronny wanted to get drafted by any NBA team. Mm-hmm. He wanted to hear his name. It was LeBron that wanted him as his teammate. What I'm saying to you is, if LeBron had rolled up on me, all he had to say, because I said this to Rich Paul when Rich Paul called me, if you had called me and said, Bron pissed off. He wants to see you man to man. I said, what would I have done? Rich Paul said, you'd have hung up the phone and you'd flew to LA. I said, thank you. Rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to see you after the game. You didn't do that. You said you with my son. No, I wasn't. I was talking about you. It wasn't about your son. I know he's number 55. I know he got work to do. Yeah. I believe that he got the potential. And by the way, I'm rooting for him. I ain't rooting against nobody. But I was talking about your You did this.
Dang. Yeah.
Right. He said, okay, Nino Brown, for real.
Yeah, he did come out looking like Nino Brown yesterday. Stephen, they bringing the venom to Gil's Arena yesterday and defending himself in his position. And I will tell you that as a father, a lot of people sided with LeBron and said, come for their children, that it's on site. You know, when they see you, it's on site and you will have to get dealt with. And it's unfortunate that that happened. I hope it doesn't set up some kind of a precedent. I don't want to dwell on it too much longer, but what was interesting to me, Jenny, was hearing Tim Hardaway, who also has a son, Tim Hardaway, formerly of the Miami Heat, who also has a son in the NBA, but his son definitely earned his way there. And here's Tim's position.
Bron has the right to come and confront you whenever he wants to confront you. I do the same thing. I just do it behind closed door. I say, look, let me come here, man. Let me talk to you for a second. You know, I go in and I talk to you and I present something in your ear. I'm not going to be in front of everybody. I'm going to talk to you and let you understand what I need for you to understand. And I'm going to leave it alone and we going to go from there. You know, and LeBron did it in a situation where he don't want to see Stephen A. Smith. He don't want to go talk to Stephen A. Smith. That presented itself right then and there. LeBron said, this is my opportunity to go to this man. I don't care if it's in front of 20,000 people. I don't care. I got to tell this man how I feel right now. And he went and told him that right now. I would have chose to tell him, yo, come in the back. Let me get this room over here, across here. Let me talk to you for a second. And after the game, and then I have some, some choice words for you and make you understand, how I feel about you. And then I just close the door and leave.
Allegedly, LeBron did try to reach.
Yeah, that's it. That's how he should have done it.
Yeah.
It already happened. It's over with. LeBron definitely could have handled it better. But I get where he was coming from as well.
Yeah. I mean, we all get where he was coming from.
Yeah.
But I think time and a place, though.
Yeah.
Time and a place. I mean, if he could picked up the phone, like Stephen A. said, picked up the phone and called him, and he would have flew to him, saying you would have been able to have the same conversation. You would have been able to have the same conversation. It was just, for me, it was kind of not a good look, but and I'm not a parent, but I know that if I was a parent, of course you're going to stand up for your kid. That's what you do as a parent.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard about this thing all weekend long. Folks, I'm surprised they didn't bring up your boy, Michael Jordan. Jordan wouldn't have did that. Jordan wouldn't have done that.
Aaron did that.
Oh man, there you go. You know what? Speaking of Jordan, I got a gift for you. A Michael Jordan iconic moment that we will have right here on the Jeff Fox Show, right here and right now, just for you, Jenny Jones. Remember this?
The look away to Livingston. Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Then when he came down the lane, he just, went one way, put it in one hand, floated about a 5 more yards, said, well, I don't know. and then he went off against the glass. So
Down the lane, changes hands, hits it in, and wheels it in. An acrobatic layup. He went in, faked the right-handed jam, brought it down, windmilled it, and banked it in with a left hand.
Can't beat that with a baseball bat. You know, I always remember Marv Albert on the call. An iconic moment. Well, no, I forgot what he said. What was it? An incredible move by Michael Jordan. With that voice, you know? I think we had one of those moments happen last night in the NBA, Jenny Jones. As we, you know, throw it back to the 90s. I think the 90s era was so great. But something happened in the game last night involving the Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. And what was so cool about it was Reggie Miller, another outstanding player from the 90s, was there to see it. And before we do that, let's have a great Reggie Miller moment.
Harper's on Miller. McKee gets it into Miller for the win. It's there! 4/10 of a second. Yeah, you can dance, Reggie. One of the greatest clutch playoff performers of his generation has apparently done it again.
Yeah, and that was over your boy Michael Jordan. That was
I knew he was coming with it.
that was in Game 6.
So you give me something and then you take it back.
No, I didn't take it back because something great happened last night. I'm trying to set it up for you. Something great happened last night. I've never seen this happen in a game before. I've never seen a game-winning 4-point play. And this is what played out in the final seconds of the Milwaukee Bucks against the Indiana Pacers. 3 seconds left in the game. The Bucks are up by 3. And then this happened.
Pacers down 3. Halliburton's got the ball. Halliburton rises up. And there's the whistle. Oh, my goodness. Tyrese Halliburton hits a 3 and is fouled. You have got to be kidding me. This is almost like the spread option in football. They had 4 offensive players in the backcourt. And Tyrese Halliburton coming off the screen here and right in the grill of Giannis and right in front of Damian Lillard, who's on the bench right now with a chance for...
You know whose voice that is that you're hearing right there, right?
Whose? I wasn't paying attention. I was more or less watching the shot, but
that was the great Reggie Miller in the house.
that
exact moment.
Because I was kind of more focusing on the play and trying to watch it, but yeah, that was amazing.
Amazing.
And then he just gonna walk over to the court to get ready to take his free throw shot like this what I do. This what I do all the time. Yeah. This wasn't nothing.
That was so cool because before the game started, you know, Reggie had his welcome home moment. Reggie is revered in Indiana, just like Michael Jordan is revered in Chicago and all over the world. And what was so cool is that you had the past meet the present prior to all the heroics for Tyrese Halliburton. Now, that's cool, right? Then he goes out there and wins the game on a 4-point play. The only other 4-point play that comes to memory for me that impacted the game was Larry Johnson for the Knicks in the playoffs. I forgot who it was against. I think it might have either been the Pacers or the Miami Heat, but it was a 4-point play from Larry Johnson of the New York Knicks. And Tyrese Halliburton, after the game, talked about how cool it was to have that kind of play happen with Reggie Miller being in the
It's
house.
definitely cool. We have a great relationship and a guy that I've really leaned on, since I've been here. And, we talk very often. And so for him to be here for that moment is it's pretty cool. It's something I look back on, way down the line one day. But definitely cool that he was here in the building for that. And, there's definitely a lot of Reggie moments in this building. And, I'm just trying to create some of my own. And, a big part of being a representative of this organization is that I follow up in the footsteps of a lot of greats. And, just trying to create my own path behind that. And, just trying to create my own moments so that, the same way that kids and fans looked up to him when he was here, they can look at me the same way one day, hopefully. So definitely was special for me.
How about that?
He did, for real,
How
for real.
about that? Outstanding, man. Like, Rodney says Reggie knew he pushed off, just like Jordan did against the Utah Jazz. They're gonna argue, most fans are gonna argue that forever. They will. They'll argue that forever. But it was a cool moment, man.
Yeah.
I think there's an outstanding game tonight in the association. Boston and OKC could be another NBA Finals preview. Celtics and the Thunder. Yeah. It's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Oh, for sure. And you see Cleveland is on like what? A 15-game win streak? And y'all still trying to crown y'all Lakers, but okay.
Well, I think the Lakers are due for a letdown. LeBron, of course, being out with an injury. He's got a groin that could sideline him for the year. Like, that's a nagging injury that doesn't go away. So, devastated my season as a Laker fan. It's unfortunate, man. Unfortunate. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat continue to lose and blow leads. Now up to like 17 games that they've blown the lead late and lost, losing to the pathetic Charlotte Hornets.
What, didn't I hear that they had like only 7 players that they could play?
Man, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Heat. Somebody, in fact, some Heat fans have reached out to me, and I will ask you the question, Jenny Jones. And this may sound like blasphemy, but is it time to look at Eric Spoelstra? Because this pattern of blowing late game leads is very disturbing. And if this was any other coach, the spotlight would have squarely been on him. Should the spotlight now be on Eric Spoelstra? Should Heat fans turn up the heat on Eric Spoelstra as this team continues to blow late lead after late lead and lose to clearly inferior teams like Charlotte?
Where is it that he's not playing the game? Players are supposed to play. That's what they get the big bucks for, is to play. He's putting them in positions to win. I mean, he's coaching them up and putting them into positions to win. Do you want them to now suit up and go play too?
No.
Well, that's what it sounds like. They want him to, like, what was that, Giselle? Brady's ex-wife, where she said, what do you want my husband to throw the ball and catch it too? So, I mean, come on.
This is not that.
Well, they still, I think they still need to play. I'm not ready to put that on Eric Spoelstra because they're already overachieving. And how are they doing that? Because of Spoelstra's coaching. Now, like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And the players need to play. They're getting paid to play. Did not Bam get the big contract? Let's make it do what it do, baby. Come on.
I don't know.
I mean, and he's not the only one, but I'm saying players need to play.
Well, coaches need to coach.
Keep him coaching.
We've seen some great jobs coaching so far in the NBA. You mentioned, I'll mention JJ Redick with the Lakers. The man in Cleveland, JB Bickerstaff, outstanding job guiding the Cavaliers. They have multiple 15-game winning streaks this season alone. Even the coach in Boston has been doing an outstanding job. I think Eric Spoelstra, I love Eric Spoelstra. I hate doing this, but you got to look at him. He has to bear some responsibility in the fact that Miami Heat can't hold the lead.
I'm sure he's taking some and putting that on himself. But like I said, at the beginning of the day and the end of the day and all up in the middle, players got to play. And it's like, have some pride in yourself, have some pride in your game, and just go out there and just ball out. You keep when you're throwing up bricks and you're having an off game, you can't quit. You don't quit. You keep shooting and you keep pushing and you keep trying. But like I said, if you want Eric Spoelstra to go out there and play, just call him and tell him, because you just call him and tell him, say, you know what, Eric Spoelstra, Coach Spo, I think you need to get out on the floor and show him.
In your opinion,
better than you can tell him. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, no, that's not what you're hearing from. I think Eric Spoelstra needs to be looked at. His patterns, his substitution pattern. As a coach, you got to be a leader of men. And I'm not questioning. I think he's the best coach in the game. Like if the Heat were to let him go, like you would have every other club in the NBA probably consider going after him. He's that good, but I just think he's screwing up right now. Like this bears responsibility from Mickey Harrison to the last man in the organization. It's everybody. It's not just the players. Eric Spoelstra's got to be looked at. The way he coaches this team, they've got to look at it. They're falling and they're falling fast. The whole Jimmy Butler debacle just kind of ruined everything with the Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo, to his credit, has been playing great basketball. They host the Clippers tonight at the Kaseya Center. And I expect another loss. But then you know what? They might surprise you with a dub. But I don't see it coming. I think this team will fall out of playoff position. And when the playoffs begin in April, they'll be on the outside looking in. And you can blame everybody, including Eric Spoelstra, for that happening. That's my thought.
You like I said, you got to look at on a whole. But like I said, I'm not placing the blame squarely on his shoulders. I'm not.
Yeah. Anyway, man, we got to get up out of here. We're going to do a hard exit. I appreciate everybody for watching the show today. We're watching the Jeff Fox Show with Jenny Jones. We'll catch up with you guys later. Peace.
We don't die. We keep rolling. Nah, 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 nah. All of it like a bad side. The Brook Walk, hallelujah. Got the ball on the wall. Got to fight that shoes. Inside rulers. People say he there. We there. Beware. See there. Still got me there. Mama there. Be there. Ain't no gallery. Passports. I'm a dollar. I roll with nothing. With no limit problems. I get down with it. I hold my tag up high. Watch out, many women get wild. Nah, 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 nah. Make them say, oh.
We started off like most companies at that time. If you're black and you're going to get involved, they're going to put you in the black area town. And so it was no different. We started in Milwaukee because I spent all those years there with 5 stores in the inner city of Milwaukee. And they were not very good restaurants, but I figured if we worked at it, you could turn things around. And I'll tell you, the average volume of those 5 restaurants was only $600,000 a year. And you're not making any money at that volume. Today, those restaurants, and my son runs them, so we still have a lot of them, but they do over $2 million in sales. And how do you do that? By getting involved with the people and letting people know that you care about them. Now, how do you do that? Back at that time in Milwaukee, if you got stopped for any traffic violation, they took you to jail. It was a crazy law that I'm glad they've changed, but where was all of our people at? They were in jail. So we were bailing people out every day, and I could take you through other things that we did to help show people that we cared about them. And once they realized that we cared about them, then they cared about the business, and they cared about us, and we grew. And as we grew and added more stores, we were able to promote people from a general manager to a district manager to an area operations person. And after a while, we had a whole lot of people making over $100,000 a year. And you would say, you know, how did that happen? And it was in what I would call a real American dream. You could come go to work if you had just natural common sense and you were willing to work hard, you could make a good living for yourself. And we had people that went on from there and became franchisees on their own. So turn around, and it was a matter of helping people. And then one day I looked up and we had 275 Wendy's restaurants.
The Jeff Fox Show, brought to you by Remix Sports Media.